Many subscription brands are running as fast as they can only to basically stay in place. They're spending all of this money to acquire customers out front, but then you're all losing all of those customers out the back. And the difference where this happens is almost never the ads or the copy or the design of the landing page, right? Most of the time, it really comes down how the subscription offer is built. If you don't know me, hi, my name is George YOCTO. We're a subscription-focused retention agency, and we're working with brands like Half, the fastest-growing company in Europe, and Grazie, which is the #1 boxed wine brand in the US. And on top of this, we have portfolios of companies generating hundreds of millions in D2C revenue. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through 7 things that the best subscription brands do differently. And each one builds on the last one. So by the end of this video, you know exactly how to make your D2C subscription offer so good that people, frankly, feel stupid saying no to it. Number 1, optimize your delivery frequency. One of the most common reasons why people cancel is have too much product. And the reason why it happens is because you are sending the product too frequently. Now the fix is super simple. Look at when one-time customers come back to reorder on their own. The gap between the first and the second purchase is your consumption cycle. So you should ultimately build the cadence around that number, how people actually consume the product, not the default numbers of your subscription platform, not the numbers of your competitors. Now, a mistake that I see often is that you guys are giving bigger discounts if people buy less frequently, which makes 0 sense. You should actually do the opposite. You want people to be receiving the product frequently because that will allow you to get paid more quickly, right? And then when it comes to getting paid more quickly, I'm only saying this because many of you are bootstrapping. Now, what I said at the beginning, tying the delivery to the consumption cycle will result in the best LTV, it will result in the best subscriber experience, and it will result long-term in you making the most amount of money. But because you are bootstrapping and you might need to collect money quickly so you can then reinvest back into the brand so that you keep growing. In these cases, you may need to make a trade-off wherein you're sacrificing the customer experience so that you can generate cash more quickly. Now, here's an example. If using a box of your product takes 30 days, right? Logically, it makes sense to send a box monthly and to send 3 boxes every 3 months and 6 boxes every 6 months, etc. Basically, to adjust the sending frequency based on the actual usage, as I mentioned already. Now, here's what happens when you do this. The customer is happy, they are less likely to cancel, but at the same time, you delay your payment into the future, right? Because if they buy 3 boxes and then they receive 3 boxes every 3 months, you're going to bill them every 3 months. When you're bootstrapping, you don't necessarily want to do because your objective is to invest and scale as quickly as possible. So if you find yourself in that scenario, it might make sense to allow people to buy in volume, but then keep sending and billing every 30 days or ideally every 4 weeks, which is even shorter, because that, again, obviously will lead you to making more money up front, more quickly, so that you don't need to wait for 3 or 6 or 12 months. Now, obviously, this is not the best from a customer experience standpoint, but the thing about being strategic is to know why you're making the choices and the trade-offs that you're choosing to do. So if collecting cash is your priority, consider this. Now, second thing, when it comes to subscription offers, is that you have to win from the first box. Again, the reason why most people stop fundamentally is because A, the product didn't do the job, B, they no longer have the need anymore because their, life situation changed, or they simply solved their issue, or, they found a better value somewhere else. So every cancellation reason is one way or another connected to those 3 fundamental points. Now, you obviously can't solve for someone's life changing, like maybe they move to a location where you no longer sip, or they change their priorities, or frankly, maybe they get fired from their job and they no longer have the money to pay you. Who knows? You can't solve for that. What you can solve for is making damn sure you're doing everything you can to help them succeed with your product, and everything you can to help the customer succeed through the very first order, like whether that's a scope, a travel pack, whatever it is, whatever removes the excuse not to use your product, you should include it in that first order as a gift. And that can sound small, but it isn't. Make the product easy to use so that people use it. And the reason why you want to do this is because people who use it do what? They are much more likely to experience results, which means they're much more likely to feel happy about their purchase, which means they stay. On top of this, this first box basically sets the tone for the whole relationship. If it feels considered, if it feels complete, it signals that your company thought through about the experience, and that impression carries forward into the later stages of the life cycle. So the absolute best execution you can have, in my perspective, is the following. Make the freebies, the gifts basically that you give, available only for subscribers. Have this be on your landing page, have this be on your ads potentially, so that you encourage people to subscribe, obviously. But then on top of this, even if you don't advertise them, send those freebies to your one-time customers too. because this will automatically start them on a positive foot with your brand, and it will basically act as a surprise and delight element from day zero. They're more likely to keep purchasing from you. Now, number 3, you have to sell the commitment. Always include volume discounts, whether it's bundles of 136 bags for supplements, or a subscription for 2 when it's a razor and blades model, or frankly, a whole out family plan, the way AG1 offers. What you want to do is get the maximum possible AOV on the first order. And the absolute best way to do so is to create high AOV offers and then encourage people to sign up through them because they are getting a better value. Now, a huge mistake a lot of you make, including high-performing brands that many of you are studying and think that they have everything figured out, is that you're approaching bundles in what I would describe as a romantic way. You're thinking, well, I'm selling a magnesium supplement and magnesium helps with sleep, so I'll also start selling a sleep mask, and then I'm gonna bundle this together and I'm gonna call this the sleep bundle. Now, the problem with that line of thinking is, even though there is a shared pain point between the person who would be buying a sleep mask and the person who would be buying magnesium, these are two completely different products, right? Your prospect is likely seeing your magnesium ad. They know you for selling supplements, and then they land on the website and they're seeing a sleep mask. All it does is distract them and introduce extra questions as they go through the buying process. So what you want to do is give people what they want, guys. That is the essence of what I'm saying. Give people what they want and then reward them when they spend more upfront with you, and then get out of their way. The same is true of post-purchase upsells. Most of you, promise you, are leaving so much money on the table. It is absolutely mind-boggling to me. You could be making so much more money by simply giving people what they want after the purchase and upgrading what they already bought, as opposed to trying to sell them completely unrelated, frankly irrelevant products. Number 4, make things as obvious as possible. Now that we're talking about savings and offer, the key is to show people in an as obvious a way as possible what they get. This goes, again, into your copy on the landing page and calling out their pay points and desired outcomes directly as clearly and plainly as possible. But more importantly, in the context of offer structure, you want to make the savings and the value as obvious as possible. For example, normally $75. Subscribe for $62. You save $13 every order. When you do this, $62 doesn't feel like $62. It feels like $13 cheaper than $75, right? It's the same number, but it becomes different in the mind of the consumer because of how you frame it, because of how obvious you made the savings. And the same logic applies to everything you include for free with a subscription. Don't say free gift with every order or free gift on order 2. Put a dollar value on each item and add them up. Like free cookbook, add it. Normally $24.99. Today it's yours free. Total $54 in extras on your first order, plus secret mystery gift on that next order. Okay? So when the value is specific, people understand the math, especially if your product replaces something people already spend money on, such as coffee or supplements, skincare routine, whatever it is. Try to work out the cost per day and put it next to that in comparison. For example, 1.9 per serving relative to 4 per coffee cup. You ultimately don't want them to have to pull out a calculator to understand the value, right? The easier, the more obvious things are, the better. And the last thing you want to do is basically make it hard to understand. Now, before I get into the last 3 tactics, if you're watching this and your honest reaction, this is some pretty good info. That's not unusual. Most of the brands I talk to have a solid product, have great ads, they do well with current customers, but the offer itself was never actually designed for retention, and they almost never have true retention experts that they work with, whether it's in-house, agency, or freelance support that they get. And that's usually why you have churn problems. If your offer is structured poorly, you're always fighting an uphill battle. But the good news is, most of the time, offer problems come down to 2 or 3 easily fixable problems. So if you want us to take a look at what your brand does, there's a link in the description to book a strategy call with me. It's down below, and thank you for watching. Let's continue with the video. Number 5, give constant dopamine hits. Okay, so the standard subscription experience is get a product, get charged, get some product, you get charged, on and on and on and on. And every time there's a charge, you feel some level of pain, where there's a strain to the relationship. Now the fix is to make every order slightly better than the last. We've already mentioned having gifts and value adds on the first order. Now you want to do the same on the second, on the third, on the fourth, on the fifth, on the 12th order, because what this does is change the frame entirely. Instead of your subscribers feeling, well, I'm getting charged money again, the thought becomes, well, what am I going to get this time? And the billing moment, as it's usually called, transforms into what we internally in YOCTO call a gifting moment, which is fantastic for retention. And the great thing is, this also makes canceling basically feel like they're giving something up. So it not just increases the perceived value of the subscription, it introduces this sense of loss aversion that if they cancel, they will basically walk away from this gift. So the way you can use this is you give people the option to pause their subscription from within the billing reminder emails. But when you do so, you also tell them that they're going to actually not receive the free gift when they resume. It's a little bit of a dark lord psychology trick, but what you'll find is that it will cut your churn rate by a lot. Bottom line, in subscription marketing, you want to constantly give people value so they stay subscribed. But even more importantly, which brings us to point and tactic number 6, you want to give them something to lose. You basically have to acknowledge as a marketer that loss aversion, this is not me saying this, there's studies behind this. Loss aversion is so much more powerful than talking about what value people can get. And here's a few ideas about how to introduce loss aversion to your subscription program and offer. Price lock on your subscribers. Free shipping only for active subscribers. OTPs have to pay. Losing out on that next order free gift, right? Like these are practical things that your subscribers might be losing when they're about to cancel. And you want to tell them that you will be losing all of this. However, what is arguably even more powerful are the emotional reasons to stay, which people might lose. As an example, say you're selling soap to combat old people smell. And I know that's a super specific example, but let's imagine that you're selling this, right? It's soap for older people that smell badly and they don't want to basically have the old people smell. Now, the main emotional reason why people would buy this is so that people would hug them, so that people would want to spend time with them, right? Because they feel lonely and they don't want to be alone. So what they would be losing, were they to cancel, is that they would be the last person to know if they're smelly again. People would be too polite to tell them, and they would be losing this human connection almost. And then, consequently, they would also be seeing their family less often. Again, I'm giving a very specific emotional example here to make a point. Your brand might be different, but fundamentally, if you're selling some sort of consumable good, you are helping people go from point A to point Z. Whether it's helping them with their sleep, managing their weight, improving their skin tone or condition, or whatever it is, through your product, they're making progress on a certain timeline. And the idea that you want to communicate is that they are literally about to undo all of the progress they made on that timeline, and that they can potentially go back to point 1 if they cancel. Number 7, remove the doubt. Okay, so all of what I've said is good and will help you both convert and retain people more effectively, but it's mostly related to people who are already fairly convinced about the value of your subscription offer. The last step handles those who aren't convinced, those who are arguably still skeptical. Now, the first and obvious thing you should do is make it easy to pause, keep, or cancel, and say so clearly on the PDP and all of your corresponding emails and touch points. The second piece is to have some sort of guarantee. Now, to be clear, guarantees don't work as well as they used to some years ago. Saying something like try it for 30 days and get your money back, or get your money back if it doesn't work, does not really help convert nearly as well as it used to. Like in the past, just having this would basically grow your conversion rate, which is no longer guaranteed by any means. What you want to do, however, is use the guarantee as a way to nudge users. Here's what I mean. So for example, say you're selling skincare. What you can potentially say, better skin in 60 days or your money back, as long as you use it daily and take a before and after photo. Now, this is powerful in many ways. First of all, 60 days is a pretty long guarantee, more than 30 or 40, which is what most people offer. Secondly, it also promises relatively quick results. Thirdly, the people that do want to claim it have to give you a before and after photo, which in a way forces them to be diligent about taking the product daily. So it signals low risk, it signals quick results, while also getting people to actually use and benefit from the product, which automatically will reduce the people asking for a refund. The third thing you can do, and those of you who have direct response background already know this, is you want to introduce specificity on every single step of your funnel. Every single claim, every single bullet point, every single benefit that you have, you want to substantiate in some way. So for example, if you say 88% of people felt lighter, well, how? Prove it by saying, based on a survey across XYZ number of people who use the product in XYZ timeframe. 24% more mental focus. Is the research? Mention the research. The most important thing that I want you to get away from this is that basically you want to get the outcomes and the benefits that you promise and then tie them into timelines based on some sort of credible factor. Like fundamentally, you're making a claim of you will experience X in Y timeframe based on XYZ substantiation. And the simplest way you can do this is, I guess, through a timeline widget on your landing page. There's a reason why every subscription D2C brand uses a timeline widget on the landing page. So should yours. By month 1, you'll notice X. By month 2, others will start noticing X. By month 4, you'll start XYZ. You want to have this type of language when possible in landing pages, emails, every other touch point wherein you promote your subscription. In your ads too, frankly. So those are some ways to create a super strong subscription offer. None of this requires a bigger team. None of it requires a bigger ad budget. It requires basically building the offer deliberately and knowing what you're talking about. So instead of picking a discount and hoping that your subscription program works, try to apply those techniques. Try to apply at least one of them, and then you'll watch what happens. And obviously, if you want to go deeper on any of those, there's a link to book a description with us down below. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.